Brian Wilson, Mary Catherine Ham, today's newsmakers, and you, the Morning Majority. 105.9 FM and AM 630. WMAL.
Good morning, 6:37 on the Morning Majority. It's the two Bryans in the house today. Brian and Brian. Mary Catherine has the day off. Coming up in the 7 o'clock hour, Roscoe Bartlett, Congressman from Maryland, will be with us. Tucker Carlson at the 8 o'clock hour. And we're going to have an interesting discussion about how chimichangas apparently are controversial. One of my favorite Mexican foods, by the way. I had one just the other day.
I don't think I've ever had a chimichanga.
Oh, well, then I'm going to take you out and introduce you to that phenomenon that we like to call the chimmy.
Do they sell them at Chipotle? I don't think they do.
No, I don't think so, but I can take you to a place that makes a good chimmy. And anyway, while we are talking about chimmy, standing by on the phone, waiting patiently to enrage us all, is our favorite Democrat, Lanny Davis. Lanny, how are you this morning?
Oh, I'm a little bit nervous without Mary Catherine around to protect me.
Sure. We'll pass that note on to her.
Yeah. Hey, here's my premise of the day, okay?
Yeah.
You know, the Obama administration, they got out there and then they took this sort of what many thought was a controversial position about birth control and forcing the Catholic Church and many of its institutions to provide birth control for free to members who work, let's say, at their hospitals or at their charitable organizations. And it became a big deal, and ultimately the Obama administration backed down on that to some degree. A premise. I don't think they really minded having that discussion at all. And what that was all about, perhaps, was inoculating themselves for a face-to-face campaign, perhaps in the fall, with one Rick Santorum. What do you think?
I was at a very high-level secret meeting about 6 months ago.
Really?
And if we had known that you had a bug in the room and heard this strategy and would have put it on WMAL, we would have not had this discussion.
Yeah,
really.
I mean, we said to ourselves, how can we ensure that we turn this campaign about a debate on whether women should have contraception when 90% of Catholic women use contraception? This is a great, and somebody in the room said, there's no way the Republicans are going to fall for that. And we said, listen, they can do anything when they're forming a circle. It's a suicide squad.
It's called the rope-a-dope. Rope-a-dope. That's what you were going for.
Look, this is a little bit of sarcasm, but you have to believe a grain of truth here. Yes, Barack Obama made a significant mistake, but he's a great crisis manager. He recovered and immediately lanced the boil and corrected it. So what do the Republicans do? Instead of saying, oops, let's move on, this is not good for us, they start talking about contraception as an issue. And you can't find a woman, maybe 1 out of 10, who doesn't support using contraception.
Wait a second. That's not what the issue is, Lanny.
I know that it shouldn't be the issue, but that's what the Republicans have made it. The Republicans just can't.
No, the Republicans have not made that the
suicide.
issue. Democrats have made it the issue. Republicans have said since day one that it's a freedom of religion issue than anything else. And your assertion that the president has somehow fixed this with the compromise that the insurance companies are going to pay for it and not the Catholic Church or the charities or the universities, whatever. I think you're wrong about that because the Catholic bishops are still upset about it, and it seems to me that most Americans are still upset about it.
Well, most of the Catholic organizations support the compromise, but I'm trying to talk a little hard politics with you guys, which I think you appreciate a lot more. Rick Santorum, who happens to be a really nice guy and is sincerely opposes contraception. He sincerely does as a religious matter, and I respect that. But he's about to become the nominee. I think at this point, I think he looks more of a favorite than Mitt Romney with his dog on the roof still in everybody's mind.
Yeah. Only in your mind is the dog on the roof story.
Yeah, I know. I just can't get over that. But look, Rick Santorum, it could be the nominee, but right now he's at least in front or tied, and he opposes all contraception.
Well, no. He does not oppose all contraception.
He actually voted for contraception in some cases. He's personally opposed.
He's personally opposed, which I'll grant you is still an issue. But let's not say that Rick Santorum wants to ban contraception because that's just not true. That is a lie, Lanny Davis, and you know that.
No, I agree that he hasn't said that he would introduce legislation preventing other people from having contraception. And I think in balance, he probably would be more tolerant than most right-to-life people, as he said to me often. And I do admire the man. But I am saying, as a political issue, we're talking politics here, he has raised the issue of contraception, and instead of, as you rightfully point out, the issue of religious liberty, which Barack Obama got himself into a hole and dug himself out quickly.
Yeah, but see, Lanny, I don't think that in the grand scheme of things, the Obama administration minds having those discussions. They may have gotten beaten up a little bit, but here's the larger thing. Anytime that they can change the debate where Americans are talking about social issues and disagreements over social issues, what are we doing? We are diverting attention away from the primary problem that we have in this country today, which is our economic state, which is a disaster. And they are largely responsible for that. So I think that even though they get beat up a little bit talking about these social issues, I don't think they mind it, because the one thing we're not talking about is the worst issue for them, and that's the economy.
Well, the economy, I would have agreed with you 3 months ago, and it's ironic that social issues are now helping Democrats because the Republicans have a tendency to head for the extremes on social issues. George Bush used social issues to divide and create a wedge for Republicans. That's how they won Ohio, and he was brilliant in his use of those issues. But I think now those issues are working against Republicans. But by the way, the theme of the Democratic campaign in 2012, I believe, is going to be mourning in America, because that's what's happening to the economy. A majority of the latest New York Times CBS poll has a majority of Americans saying the economy's getting better. 3 months ago, a majority was saying it was getting worse. So I don't think Republicans should be investing in bad news. Every time there's good news in the economy, I see all my Republican friends being really upset, which is a little bit concerning as to whether they're worried about the best interests of the country or they want bad news that helps Republicans.
Well, they also could make the point that things have turned around, and it's due in part because the Republicans have blocked the president from doing just about everything he's wanted to do in the last year and a half.
You can't win. If he had done a lot, he wouldn't get the credit. If he does nothing, he doesn't get the credit. So I guess
and I think you can make a case that the economy is getting better in spite of the president's policies, not because of.
We're going to have to make that case.
I know. Whichever way he goes, you guys wouldn't give him credit. But the economy's getting better, and he will get the credit. Sorry.
All right, Lanny, good to talk to you. We'll do it again next week.